A woman's strength is not in her muscles. It is in her mind, her soul, and her ability to rise when the world pushes her down. If you want to be strong, stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for validation. A strong girl is not born. She is built. And today I will give you 5 rules to build the strongest version of yourself. You don't need anyone's approval to be powerful. Why do you wait for the world to tell you who you are? Why do you seek permission to live, to dream, to be something more? From the moment you were born, society has tried to put you in a box, telling you what is right, what is acceptable, what is appropriate for a girl. But tell me, has the world ever created something truly powerful by following the rules of approval? Think about a bird learning to fly. Does it look around and ask, is it okay if I spread my wings? No. It jumps, it flaps, it fails, it falls, and then one day it soars. It does not seek validation from the sky or the earth. It simply knows that flying is what it was meant to do. And yet, as human beings, we are constantly waiting for someone to tell us, yes, you are good enough, before we take our first step. Have you ever noticed how people hesitate before making a big decision, before changing their career, before leaving a toxic relationship, before starting something new? It is because they are scared, not of failure, but of what others will say. What will my family think? What if my friends don't support me? What if society judges me? And so they stay stuck in lives that do not fulfill them just because they crave approval. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine a girl walking into a room full of strangers. If she's unsure of herself, she will look around waiting for a sign that she belongs, hoping someone will smile, hoping someone will acknowledge her presence. But now imagine a girl who walks into the same room with the energy of someone who doesn't need permission to exist. She stands tall, she owns her presence, she speaks with confidence. And because she does not seek approval, she commands respect. Approval is an illusion. It is a chain that keeps you locked in a life that is too small for your true potential. Look at the most powerful women in history. Did they wait for the world's permission to lead? No. They stepped forward even when people doubted them, even when society tried to silence them. They became powerful, not because the world allowed them to, but because they decided to be powerful anyway. Think about your own life. How many times have you hesitated before doing something you truly wanted? How many times have you held back from speaking your mind because you were afraid of being judged? How many times have you dimmed your light just to make others comfortable? And what did that bring you? Did it make you happy? Or did it make you feel like you were living a life that was not truly yours? If you spend your life trying to be liked by everyone, you will lose yourself in the process. Because no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you wear something bold, they will call you too flashy. If you speak too much, they will call you too loud. If you are quiet, they will say you are weak. There is no way to please everyone. So why not stop trying? Why not start living? There's a story of a father and his son walking with their donkey. As they travel, different people give them advice. First, someone tells the father, "Why is your son walking? He's young. Let him ride the donkey." So the father puts the son on the donkey. Later, another person says, "How disrespectful. The boy is young and the old man is walking. The father should ride." So the father gets on the donkey and the boy walks. Then someone else sees them and says, "How cruel. The donkey is carrying too much weight. You should both walk." So they both walk. Finally, someone else sees them and says, "What a waste. You have a donkey, but no one is riding it." At the end of the journey, the father and son realize no matter what they do, people will always have something to say. This is how life works. If you keep changing yourself to please others, you will end up exhausted and still people will criticize you. So why not live the way you want? Why not be the person you choose to be? You don't need anyone's approval to be powerful. Power is not given, it is taken. It is something you decide for yourself. If you believe in your dreams, that is enough. If you know your worth, that is enough. If you trust yourself, that is enough. The moment you stop looking around for approval is the moment you step into your true strength. The moment you stop waiting for the world to say you are worthy is the moment you realize you always were. Your energy is like fire. It can warm you, light your path, and help you create something magnificent. But if you allow the wrong people near it, they will either try to control it or put it out completely. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of energy, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And the way you spend that energy decides the quality of your life. So many people waste it on things and people who do not deserve it. Look around you. How many times have you given your time to someone who drains you? Maybe it's a friend who only calls when they need something but disappears when you need support. Maybe it's a toxic relationship that constantly takes but never gives. Maybe it's the habit of arguing with people who have no intention of understanding you. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to you. Your energy is not an unlimited resource. If you give it away carelessly, you will find yourself exhausted, drained, and lost. Imagine you have a phone with only 20% battery left. Would you waste it scrolling through nonsense, watching things that add no value to your life? No. You would save it for something important, something that matters. Yet, when it comes to our energy, we give it away freely. To drama, to negativity, to people who do not uplift us. And then, we wonder why we feel empty. Think about a garden. If you plant flowers and take care of them, they will grow beautifully. But if you let weeds take over, they will suffocate everything good. Your energy is the same. If you allow negative people, toxic relationships, and unnecessary stress into your life, they will choke your happiness. A strong girl knows this. She guards her energy the way a queen guards her crown. Carefully, consciously, and without apology. Let's take a simple example from daily life. Imagine you are sitting with a group of friends, and all they do is gossip about others. They complain, they judge, they bring nothing but negativity. Now you may not realize it immediately, but that energy is affecting you, feeling unhappy for no reason. This is what happens when you expose yourself to negative energy. Now picture another scenario. You spend time with people who uplift you, people who discuss ideas, who motivate you, who inspire you to grow. When you leave that conversation, you feel good, you feel excited about life, you feel energized. This is the difference between wasting your energy and protecting it. A strong girl does not allow just anyone to influence her mind. She understands that her energy is sacred and she chooses her company wisely. There is a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with negativity, you will absorb it. If you surround yourself with strength, you will become stronger. So take a moment and ask yourself, who do you allow into your space? Do they lift you up or do they pull you down? Do they add to your peace or do they disturb it? People will always try to take from you your time, your attention, your energy. Some will come with love and some will come with hidden intentions. Some will pretend to care, but they only stay for what they can get. It is your job to know the difference. It is your job to decide who gets a seat at your table. A strong girl does not beg for love, friendship, or approval. She does not chase people who are not meant for her. She understands that not everyone is supposed to stay in her life, and that's okay. She lets go of what drains her and holds on to what nourishes her. Think about the sun. It shines brightly every day, giving light and warmth to the world. But does the sun go knocking on doors, asking people if they appreciate it? No, it simply shines. And those who value its warmth will naturally be drawn to it. That is how you must be. Stop explaining yourself to people who do not care. Stop proving your worth to those who cannot see it. Stop giving your energy to things that do not help you grow. Life is too short to waste on things that don't serve you. Your energy is precious. Protect it. Give it only to those who deserve it. Walk away from people who drain you and surround yourself with those who inspire you. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your peace. And when you protect your peace, you protect your power. Your emotions are your power. Learn to control them, or they will control you. Emotions are like the wind. Sometimes gentle, sometimes wild, but always present. They can push you forward or throw you off course, depending on how well you understand them. A strong girl does not suppress her emotions, nor does she let them dictate her life. She learns to master them, to channel them, to turn them into fuel instead of chains. Think about this. How many times have you reacted in the heat of the moment and later regretted it? How many times have anger, frustration, or sadness made you say things you didn't mean? Or worse, how many times have you let fear stop you from doing what you truly wanted? This is what happens when emotions control you instead of you controlling them. Imagine a woman in a workplace filled with difficult people. One day, someone insults her work. If she has no control over her emotions, she might snap, argue, or walk away feeling small. But a strong girl knows better. She does not let one moment of criticism define her. She does not allow her emotions to overpower her intelligence. Instead, she pauses. She breathes. She responds, not reacts. And in doing so, she wins. Or take another example, relationships. Many people allow their emotions to blind them. They stay in toxic situations because they are attached. They keep running back to people who hurt them because their emotions are stronger than their self-respect. But a strong girl understands that love, anger, sadness, all of it is energy. And energy can be redirected. If she feels heartbroken, she does not drown in self-pity. She turns that pain into power. If she is angry, she does not waste it on revenge. She uses it to build something greater. Emotions are not your enemy. They are messages, signals from within. But if you do not learn how to listen to them, they will mislead you. Imagine you are walking in the rain without an umbrella. The rain does not ask for your permission to fall. It simply does. You have two choices. You can stand there and get drenched, or you can find shelter and wait for it to pass. Your emotions work the same way. They come, they go, and if you know how to handle them, they will never drown you. Think about the strongest people in history. Were they emotionless? No, they felt deeply, but they did not let their emotions break them. They used them to create revolutions, to build legacies, to inspire change. Every powerful woman, every successful leader, none of them were controlled by their emotions. They felt, they understood, and they moved forward with wisdom, not impulse. Now, look at your own life. How often do you allow emotions to control your actions? How many times have you avoided something because you were afraid? How many times have you given up because sadness convinced you that you were not good enough? How many times have you let anger push away the people who truly cared for you? Emotional strength is not about feeling nothing. It is about feeling everything and still making the right choices. It is about recognizing that emotions are temporary, but your actions can create permanent consequences. A strong girl learns to step back, to observe, to question before she reacts. There is a story of a wise old master and his student. One day the student comes to him in anger, saying, "Master, I was insulted today and I want to respond immediately." The master smiles and gives him a cup of tea. He asks the student to drink it, but the tea is too hot. The student pulls away, waiting for it to cool down. The master then says, "See, when the tea is too hot, you do not drink it immediately because it will burn you. But when your emotions are hot, you react without thinking and burn yourself. Always wait, let it cool, then decide." This is the power of emotional control. The ability to pause, to reflect, to not let temporary emotions create permanent damage. A strong girl does not allow others to manipulate her feelings. She does not let guilt, fear, or insecurity make her weak. She stands firm, knowing that she is the master of her mind, not a prisoner of it. There will always be situations that test you, people who try to provoke you, moments that break your heart. But your strength is not in avoiding emotions. It is in handling them with grace. When sadness comes, acknowledge it, but do not live in it. When anger rises, breathe, but do not let it poison you. When fear whispers, listen, but do not obey. You are stronger than your emotions. You are bigger than your fears. And the moment you stop reacting to everything, the moment you start responding with wisdom, you will realize nothing and no one can control you. Because a strong girl does not bow to emotions. She rises above them. In a world that never stops talking, silence is a rare and powerful thing. Everyone is in a rush to express their opinions, to prove a point, to be heard. But a strong girl knows that true power is not in speaking all the time. It is in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Think about it. When someone argues with you, what do? Most people react instantly, raising their voices, defending themselves, explaining their side. But what happens when you do the opposite? When you choose not to react, not to feed the fire? The argument loses its fuel. The other person becomes confused. Silence unsettles people more than words ever could. It forces them to think, to reflect, to question themselves. That is the power of silence. Imagine a room full of people all speaking at the same time. Their voices mix, turning into meaningless noise. But suddenly one person stops talking. They sit back, they observe, they listen, and when they finally speak, every single person turns to hear them. Why? Because silence makes words valuable. If you speak only when necessary, people listen. But if you talk all the time, your words lose their weight. A strong girl does not waste her breath proving herself to people who do not matter. She does not explain her worth to those who refuse to see it. She does not argue with fools because she knows that silence is the greatest response to ignorance. Not everything needs a reaction. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every situation needs your voice. Let's take a simple example from daily life. You are in a workplace and someone spreads a rumor about you. The natural reaction? You want to defend yourself, to clear your name, to confront the person who started it. But think about this. When you react, you give power to the rumor. You show people that it has affected you. But if you stay silent, if you continue doing your work with confidence, the rumor will die on its own. People will realize the truth through your actions, not your words. The same applies to relationships. If someone disrespects you, the strongest response is not arguing. It is removing yourself from their presence. It is showing them that their words and actions do not deserve your energy. Silence forces people to sit with their own guilt. It makes them wonder. It makes them uncomfortable. And sometimes discomfort is the best teacher. There is a story of a wise king who had a minister known for his deep wisdom. One day, the king was insulted in front of his court. Everyone expected the minister to respond in defense of the king, but he did not say a word. Later, the king asked him, "Why did you remain silent when I was insulted?" The minister smiled and said, "When a dog barks at the moon, does the moon stop shining to bark back? No, the moon continues to glow and the barking eventually stops." This is the essence of true strength. When you know who you are, you do not need to prove it to anyone. When you are confident in your path, you do not waste time explaining it to those who cannot understand. Silence is not weakness, it is the highest form of self-control. It is choosing to respond with actions instead of unnecessary words. Look at the most powerful people in the world. Do they react to every insult, every piece of criticism, every negative comment? No. They move forward, they let their work speak for them. They allow their success to be the answer. A strong girl must learn the same. This does not mean you should never speak. There are moments when you must raise your voice, when you must stand up for yourself, when you must set boundaries, when you must express your truth. But the difference is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Speak when your words carry meaning. Speak when it is necessary, not when it is just an emotional reaction. Think about social media. Every day, people argue online over things that do not matter. They waste their energy proving points to strangers who will never change their minds. But a strong girl knows better. She knows that real change happens in action, not in endless debates. She knows that her energy is too valuable to be spent on people who do not want to listen. Your silence can be a weapon, a shield, and a tool for growth. It can protect your peace, confuse your enemies, and strengthen your mind. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, does this deserve my words or will my silence speak louder? Because a strong girl does not shout to prove her power. She walks in silence and the world watches. And when she finally speaks, her voice is heard by those who truly matter. There is no greater power in this world than being able to stand on your own, to wake up every morning and know that you do not need anyone to complete you, to validate you, or to give you permission to live your life. A strong girl understands that her happiness is not in the hands of another person. Her success is not determined by someone else's approval, and her self-worth is not defined by the opinions of the world. Think about it. How often do people wait for someone else to make them feel good? How many times have you heard someone say, "I'll be happy when I find the right partner," or "I need someone to support me so I can follow my dreams"? This kind of thinking is a trap. It keeps you chained to the idea that your life is incomplete without someone else. But the truth is, the moment you make someone else responsible for your happiness, you give them the power to take it away. Imagine a girl who dreams of becoming an artist. She is passionate, she has talent, but she waits. She waits for her family to support her, she waits for her friends to encourage her, she waits for a partner who believes in her. And in all this waiting, she loses time. Precious time that she could have spent building her dreams on her own. A strong girl does not wait. She takes action. She finds a way. If no one supports her, she supports herself. If no one believes in her, she believes in herself. Look at relationships. So many people enter relationships because they feel empty inside. They search for someone to fill that emptiness, to make them feel loved, to give them a sense of purpose. But what happens when that relationship ends? They feel broken, lost, like a piece of them is missing. Why? Because they built their happiness around another person instead of themselves. A strong girl does not make that mistake. She knows that love should add to her life, not be the foundation of it. She does not need a relationship to feel complete. She's already whole. Independence is not just about money or career. It is about mindset. It is about knowing that no one else is responsible for your life except you. It is about making choices for yourself, not based on what others think or expect. How many times do people make decisions because they fear judgment? How many times do girls give up their dreams because someone told them they should follow a different path? But a strong girl knows her life is hers to live. No one else will walk in her shoes. So no one else gets to decide her journey. Look at the most successful, confident women in the world. Did they reach where they are by waiting for someone to open doors for them? No, they created their own doors. They knocked, and if no one answered, they built a new path. That is what independence is. The ability to stand tall no matter who is with you or against you. The ability to say, I can do this on my own. Now think about your daily life. How often do you rely on others for validation? How often do you check your phone waiting for someone's message to feel important? How often do you hesitate to make a decision because you are afraid of what people will say? This is where independence begins, not just in big moments, but in small choices. The choice to believe in yourself, to trust your instincts, to follow your own heart without needing permission. There is a story of a woman who lived in a small village. Every day she dreamed of moving to a big city and starting her own business. But whenever she spoke about it, people told her, you can't do it alone. You need a husband, you need a family, you need support. She listened to them for years, waiting for the right person to come and change her life. But one day, she realized no one was coming to save her. If she wanted a better life, she had to create it herself. So she left the village, moved to the city with nothing but her skills and determination, and built her business from scratch. Years later, she returned, not as the girl who once waited for someone to believe in her, but as the woman who believed in herself enough to make it happen. This is the power of independence. The ability to trust yourself enough to take risks, to move forward even when no one else is clapping for you. A strong girl knows that her life is her responsibility. She does not rely on others to make her feel worthy, to give her confidence, to push her forward. She creates her own success, her own happiness, her own strength. There will always be people who tell you that you need someone to guide you, to support you, to hold your hand. But the truth is, the strongest people in this world are the ones who learn to walk alone. Because when you stand on your own 2 feet, when you take control of your own life, when you become the source of your own happiness, no one can take that power away from you. Self-respect is non-negotiable. Never lower your standards for anyone. There is nothing more valuable than your self-respect. It is the foundation of your dignity, your confidence, and your inner strength. A girl who respects herself, sets boundaries, walks away from things that do not serve her, and never compromises her values just to please others. But in a world that constantly demands women to adjust, to settle, to be less difficult, standing firm in your self-respect becomes a challenge. That is why only strong girls do it. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone tolerate disrespect just because they were afraid of losing a relationship? How many people stay in friendships, jobs, or situations where they are undervalued simply because they do not want to be alone? This is where self-respect separates the strong from the weak. A strong girl does not beg for attention, does not chase love, and does not shrink herself to fit into someone else's version of who she should be. Imagine you are in a relationship where your partner constantly cancels plans, ignores your feelings, and makes you feel like an option rather than a priority. What do most people do? They make excuses. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But what does a girl with self-respect do? She does not ask for basic decency. She expects it. And if it is not given, she walks away, not because she does not care, but because she cares about herself more. Self-respect means setting standards and not lowering them for anyone. It means knowing what you deserve and never settling for less, whether it is in love, friendships, or opportunities. People will test your boundaries. They will see how much they can get away with, and if you allow them to disrespect you once, they will do it again. But if you show them that your self-worth is not up for negotiation, they will either treat you with the respect you deserve or leave. Either way, you win. Think about a workplace. A boss gives you extra work beyond your job description, does not appreciate your efforts, and treats you unfairly. Most people would complain, but still continue working in silence, afraid of losing their job. But a girl with self-respect does not allow herself to be exploited. She either demands what she is worth or finds a better opportunity. She knows that staying in a place where she is undervalued does not make her loyal. It makes her blind to her own worth. Society teaches women to be accommodating, to be agreeable, to be nice. But there is a difference between kindness and allowing yourself to be used. A strong girl is kind, but she is not a doormat. She loves deeply, but she does not tolerate disrespect. She helps others, but not at the cost of losing herself. Because she understands one truth. If you do not respect yourself, no one else will. Look at the most powerful women in history. They did not reach where they are by asking for permission. They did not dim their light to make others comfortable. They did not lower their standards just to be accepted. They stood their ground. They made people rise to meet their level instead of stepping down to fit into someone else's expectations. That is the essence of self-respect. It starts with small decisions, saying no when something does not align with your values, walking away from conversations that drain your energy, choosing yourself over toxic relationships, not explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. Every time you stand up for yourself, you reinforce your self-respect. There is a story of a young woman who had big dreams, but every time she spoke about them, people laughed. That's too ambitious for a girl. Maybe you should think smaller. At first she considered listening to them, but then she asked herself, if she did not respect her own dreams, why would anyone else? So she pursued them anyway. Years later, the same people who doubted her were the ones clapping for her success. That is what happens when you choose self-respect over external validation. People will try to make you feel like you're being too much when you demand respect. They will say you have an attitude, that you are difficult, but let them talk. It is better to be difficult than to be easily manipulated. It is better to be respected than to be liked by everyone. A girl who lowers her standards for others may win temporary approval, but a girl who holds her standards high wins permanent self-respect. At the end of the day, self-respect is about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone treat you as anything less. It is about recognizing that you do not need to prove your value, you just need to live it. When you respect yourself, you attract people who respect you too, and those who do not, they fade away. That is the beauty of self-respect. It does not seek validation, yet it commands it. Emotional control is power. Never let your emotions make your decisions. There is no greater test of strength than mastering your emotions. The world will provoke you, people will disappoint you, situations will challenge you. But the real question is, will you react impulsively or will you respond with wisdom? A strong girl understands that emotions are temporary, but decisions have lasting consequences. She does not allow her anger, sadness, or excitement to dictate her choices. Instead, she remains steady, in control, and unshaken by the chaos around her. Think about how often people make decisions in the heat of the moment. A person gets angry, and in a fit of rage, they say words they later regret. A girl feels heartbroken, and out of desperation begs someone to stay, losing her dignity in the process. Someone feels afraid and walks away from an opportunity that could have changed their life. This is what happens when emotions take control. Decisions are made that later become regrets. But a strong girl knows better. She understands that reacting is easy, but responding with clarity is powerful. Imagine you are in an argument. Your emotions are running high, your heart is pounding, and all you want to do is prove your point. Most people in this situation would raise their voice, say hurtful things, and act without thinking. But what does a girl with emotional control do? She pauses, she breathes, she does not let the moment overpower her wisdom. She understands that her response will either bring resolution or fuel the fire. And because she values her peace more than winning an argument, she chooses to respond with calmness and clarity. That is power. Emotional control does not mean suppressing your feelings. It does not mean ignoring your pain, your anger, or your sadness. It means acknowledging them but not being ruled by them. It means allowing yourself to feel but making decisions from a place of strength, not weakness. A strong girl does not let her emotions drive her actions. She lets her wisdom guide her. Look at relationships. How many times do people get caught up in emotions and end up making poor choices? Someone hurts them, and instead of walking away with dignity, they seek revenge. They get ghosted, and instead of moving on, they chase. They fall in love and ignore all the red flags because their heart is leading them, not their mind. But later, when emotions settle, they realize their mistake. A strong girl does not fall into this trap. She does not let temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. She steps back, looks at the bigger picture, and acts from a place of self-respect and clarity. Think about financial decisions. How often do people spend money impulsively because they feel excited? They see a new dress, a new gadget, and without thinking they buy it, only to regret it later when reality hits. Emotional spending is a perfect example of why control is essential. A strong girl understands that just because she wants something now does not mean she needs it. She practices patience. She thinks long term. She makes choices that serve her future, not just her momentary desires. Now take social media. How many people ruin their reputations because they react emotionally online? They post out of anger, engage in unnecessary fights, and expose their personal lives for temporary validation. But a girl with emotional control does not seek approval from strangers. She does not overshare, she does not respond to every insult, and she does not let negativity disturb her inner peace. She knows that silence is often more powerful than words. There is a story of a woman who worked in a corporate office. She was talented, hardworking, and dedicated. But one day her boss unfairly criticized her in front of everyone. She felt humiliated. She wanted to scream, to quit on the spot, to lash out, but she didn't. She took a deep breath, stayed composed, and responded professionally. Later, that same boss admitted he was wrong and apologized. If she had reacted emotionally, she would have lost control of the situation. But because she remained calm, she gained respect instead. This is what emotional control does. It turns situations in your favor. Mastering emotions is not about being robotic. It is about being strategic. It is about knowing that not everything needs a reaction. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every feeling needs to be acted upon. A strong girl understands that emotions come and go, but the choices she makes will shape her life. That is why she waits before she speaks, thinks before she acts, and always chooses self-control over impulse. The world respects people who can handle their emotions. When you are calm under pressure, people trust you. When you do not react to every small thing, people see your strength. When you make decisions based on logic instead of fleeting feelings, your life moves in a direction of success and stability. So the next time you feel like reacting, pause. The next time you feel overwhelmed, breathe. The next time your emotions push you to make a decision, step back and ask yourself, will I regret this later? Because a strong girl is not ruled by emotions. She rules over them. Be independent. Never rely on anyone for your happiness or survival. Independence is not just about making your own money or living alone. It is a mindset, a way of life. A declaration that you are whole on your own. A strong girl understands that she is responsible for her own happiness, her own growth, and her own survival. She does not wait for someone to rescue her. She does not depend on others to validate her worth. And she does not hand over control of her life to anyone. She builds her own empire, emotionally, mentally, and financially. Because she knows one truth. When you rely on others, you give them the power to control you. Think about how many people stay in toxic relationships, not because they love their partner, but because they are afraid of being alone. They tell themselves they cannot survive without that person, that they need them for support, for comfort, for stability. But a strong girl knows better. She knows that depending on someone else for happiness is like building a house on shaky ground. It will crumble the moment that person leaves. Instead, she becomes her own source of joy, her own strength, her own home. Imagine a woman who dreams of traveling the world, but she keeps waiting for the right partner to come along and join her. Years pass, and she keeps postponing her dreams, thinking that happiness must be shared. But then she realizes, why should she wait for someone else to make her happy? So she books the flight, packs her bags, and embarks on an adventure alone. And what does she find? Freedom, confidence, the realization that she was never missing anything. She just needed to believe in herself. Financial independence is a major part of being truly free. How many women stay in unhappy marriages or unfulfilling jobs simply because they cannot afford to leave? A strong girl never puts herself in a position where she is financially trapped. She works, she learns, she saves, and she invests. She understands that relying on someone else for survival is dangerous because people change, circumstances shift, and the only thing she can truly count on is her own ability to provide for herself. Think of a young girl who gets a job and spends all her earnings on shopping, parties, and temporary pleasures. She tells herself, it's fine, my parents will always support me. Or if I get married, my husband will take care of me. But what happens if life takes an unexpected turn? What if she suddenly has no one to rely on? A strong girl does not gamble her future on the hope that someone else will always be there. She takes control, she builds skills, she makes smart financial choices. Because she knows that true security comes from being able to stand on her own 2 feet. Now, let's talk about emotional independence. It is easy to get attached to people, to seek validation, to expect others to make us feel loved and valued. But here's the truth. When you give someone else the responsibility for your happiness, you also give them the power to take it away. A strong girl enjoys love, but she does not need it to feel complete. She has friendships, but she is not afraid of being alone. She can spend time by herself without feeling lonely because she has built a world within her that is rich, fulfilling, and enough. Think of the people who constantly seek approval from others. They post on social media hoping for likes. They dress a certain way to be accepted. They change their personality to fit in. But what happens when the validation stops? They feel empty, lost, insecure. A strong girl does not live for applause. She does not need others to tell her she is enough. She already knows it. She walks into a room with confidence, not because she wants attention, but because she is secure in who she is. There is a story of a girl who loved art, but never pursued it seriously because her family and friends told her it was not practical. They said she should follow a safe path, get a stable job, and forget her passion. She listened to them, gave up her dreams, and spent years in a career she hated. But one day she realized something. She had been living a life shaped by other people's opinions. So she quit. She started painting again, selling her work, and building a life on her own terms. And in that moment, she felt something she had never felt before. True independence. Being independent does not mean rejecting love, friendships, or support. It means choosing them from a place of strength, not necessity. It means knowing that while having people in your life is beautiful, needing them to survive is dangerous. A strong girl loves deeply, but she does not cling. She connects, but she does not depend. She walks with people, but she is fully capable of walking alone. At the end of the day, independence is about freedom. The freedom to make your own choices, to create your own happiness, to live life on your own terms. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, no matter who stays or who leaves, you will be okay. Because a strong girl is not built on dependency. She is built on her own unshakable strength. Mastering emotions is not about being robotic. It is about being strategic. It is about knowing that not everything needs a reaction. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every feeling needs to be acted upon. A strong girl understands that emotions come and go, but the choices she makes will shape her life. That is why she waits before she speaks, thinks before she acts, and always chooses self-control over impulse. The world respects people who can handle their emotions. When you are calm under pressure, people trust you. When you do not react to every small thing, people see your strength. When you make decisions based on logic instead of fleeting feelings, your life moves in a direction of success and stability. So the next time you feel like reacting, pause. The next time you feel overwhelmed, breathe. The next time your emotions push you to make a decision, step back and ask yourself, will I regret this later? Because a strong girl is not ruled by emotions. She rules over them. Be independent, never rely on anyone for your happiness or survival. Independence is not just about making your own money or living alone. It is a mindset, a way of life, a declaration that you are whole on your own. A strong girl understands that she is responsible for her own happiness, her own growth, and her own survival. She does not wait for someone to rescue her. She does not depend on others to validate her worth, and she does not hand over control of her life to anyone. She builds her own empire, emotionally, mentally, and financially, because she knows one truth: when you rely on others, you give them the power to control you. Think about how many people stay in toxic relationships, not because they love their partner, but because they are afraid of being alone. They tell themselves they cannot survive without that person, that they need them for support, for comfort, for stability. But a strong girl knows better. She knows that depending on someone else for happiness is like building a house on shaky ground. It will crumble the moment that person leaves. Instead, she becomes her own source of joy, her own strength, her own home. Imagine a woman who dreams of traveling the world, but she keeps waiting for the right partner to come along and join her. Years pass, and she keeps postponing her dreams, thinking that happiness must be shared. But then she realizes, why should she wait for someone else to make her happy? So she books the flight, packs her bags, and embarks on an adventure alone. And what does she find? Freedom. Confidence. The realization that she was never missing anything, she just needed to believe in herself. Financial independence is a major part of being truly free. How many women stay in unhappy marriages or unfulfilling jobs simply because they cannot afford to leave? A strong girl never puts herself in a position where she is financially trapped. She works, she learns, she saves, and she invests. She understands that relying on someone else for survival is dangerous because people change, circumstances shift, and the only thing she can truly count on is her own ability to provide for herself. Think of a young girl who gets a job and spends all her earnings on shopping, parties, and temporary pleasures. She tells herself, it's fine, my parents will always support me. Or if I get married, my husband will take care of me. But what happens if life takes an unexpected turn? What if she suddenly has no one to rely on? A strong girl does not gamble her future on the hope that someone else will always be there. She takes control. She builds skills. She makes smart financial choices because she knows that true security comes from being able to stand on her own 2 feet. Now, let's talk about emotional independence. It is easy to get attached to people, to seek validation, to expect others to make us feel loved and valued. But here's the truth: when you give someone else the responsibility for your happiness, you also give them the power to take it away. A strong girl enjoys love, but she does not need it to feel complete. She has friendships, but she is not afraid of being alone. She can spend time by herself without feeling lonely because she has built a world within her that is rich, fulfilling, and enough. Think of the people who constantly seek approval from others. They post on social media hoping for likes. They dress a certain way to be accepted. They change their personality to fit in. But what happens when the validation stops? They feel empty, lost, insecure. A strong girl does not live for applause. She does not need others to tell her she is enough. She already knows it. She walks into a room with confidence, not because she wants attention, but because she is secure in who she is. There is a story of a girl who loved art but never pursued it seriously because her family and friends told her it was not practical. They said she should follow a safe path, get a stable job, and forget her passion. She listened to them, gave up her dreams, and spent years in a career she hated. But one day she realized something: she had been living a life shaped by other people's opinions. So she quit. She started painting again, selling her work, and building a life on her own terms. And in that moment she felt something she had never felt before: true independence. Being independent does not mean rejecting love, friendships, or support. It means choosing them from a place of strength, not necessity. It means knowing that while having people in your life is beautiful, needing them to survive is dangerous. A strong girl loves deeply, but she does not cling. She connects, but she does not depend. She walks with people, but she is fully capable of walking alone. At the end of the day, independence is about freedom, the freedom to make your own choices, to create your own happiness, to live life on your own terms. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, no matter who stays or who leaves, you will be okay. Because a strong girl is not built on dependency. She is built on her own unshakable strength. The world is full of people who demand explanations. They will question your choices, doubt your abilities, and challenge your dreams. They will ask, why are you doing this? Who do you think you are? Are you sure this is the right path? And too often we fall into the trap of justifying ourselves. We try to convince others that our decisions are valid, that our dreams are worth pursuing, that we are capable of achieving what we set out to do. But here's the truth: a strong girl does not waste her energy explaining herself. She does not beg for approval. She does not seek validation from people who cannot see her vision. Instead, she lets her success do the talking. Think about a woman who decides to start her own business. The moment she announces it, the questions begin. Are you sure this will work? Why would you take such a risk? What if you fail? If she spends her time explaining herself, justifying every move, defending every decision, she will exhaust herself before she even begins. But if she keeps her head down, focuses on her work, and builds something extraordinary, she will not have to say a word. Her success will be the answer. There is an old saying, a lion does not concern itself with the opinions of sheep. A strong girl understands this deeply. She does not argue with people who doubt her. She does not try to change the minds of those who cannot see her worth. She knows that time will reveal everything. She knows that in the end, results speak louder than words. Think about how often people waste time trying to prove themselves. Someone insults them, and they immediately feel the need to defend themselves. Someone questions their choices and they go into a long explanation. Someone doubts their capabilities and they start listing all their achievements to earn respect. But a strong girl does not do this. She knows that confidence is silent and insecurity is loud. She does not feel the need to explain herself to anyone who does not believe in her. She simply moves forward and lets life prove her right. Imagine a young girl who wants to follow an unconventional career path. Maybe she wants to be an artist, a writer, a musician. The people around her tell her it's unrealistic. They ask her how she plans to make a living. They tell her to choose something safer. Now, she has two options. She can spend hours trying to convince them that she knows what she's doing, or she can quietly focus on her craft, work hard, and become so good that they have no choice but to respect her. A strong girl chooses the second option. She does not argue. She does not seek permission. She just does it. There is power in silence. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people rarely waste time explaining themselves? They do not announce their every move. They do not try to convince others of their worth. They simply do the work. And when the results come, everyone falls silent. A strong girl embodies this mindset. She does not feel the need to prove herself to anyone. She knows who she is, she knows what she wants, and she knows that her actions will speak louder than any words ever could. Think about relationships. How often do people feel the need to explain themselves in love? A girl gets ghosted by a guy and she wants to send long messages explaining why she deserves better. Someone breaks her heart and she wants to prove to them that they made a mistake. But a strong girl does not do this. She knows that silence is more powerful than words. She does not beg, she does not explain, she does not justify. She lets her absence be the lesson. She moves on, builds a better life, and one day the same people who doubted her will regret ever questioning her. In the workplace too, a strong girl does not waste time proving herself. She does not engage in office politics. She does not try to win over everyone's approval. She does not explain every decision she makes. She simply delivers results. And when she succeeds, people will have nothing left to say. There is a story of a woman who was underestimated her entire life. People told her she was not smart enough, not talented enough, not strong enough to succeed. She did not argue. She did not defend herself. She simply worked harder than everyone else. Years later, when she achieved everything they said she could not, those same people had nothing to say. She never had to explain herself. Her success did it for her. A strong girl understands that words are cheap, but actions are priceless. She knows that the people who doubt her today will be the same ones clapping for her tomorrow. She does not seek validation because she does not need it. She trusts herself. She believes in her path. And she knows that success is the loudest response. So the next time someone questions your dreams, do not explain. The next time someone doubts you, do not argue. The next time someone does not believe in you, do not waste a second trying to convince them. Instead, put your head down, do the work, and let your success be the answer. Because a strong girl does not talk about what she is going to do. She just does it. Embrace solitude. Your strength is built in silence, not in noise. In a world that constantly demands attention, where every moment is filled with distractions, where people are afraid of being alone, a strong girl finds power in solitude. She does not fear silence. She does not run from being alone. She understands that true strength is not built in the presence of others. It is built in the moments of solitude when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when she is left with nothing but her own thoughts. Many people think strength comes from external validation. They believe they need a crowd to feel powerful, that their worth is measured by how many people like them, support them, or approve of them. But a strong girl knows that real strength does not come from being surrounded by others. It comes from knowing who you are when you are alone. Think of a mountain. It stands tall and shaken not because it needs the world's approval, but because it is rooted deep in its own foundation. A strong girl is like that mountain. She does not need constant noise to feel important. She does not need constant company to feel secure. She thrives in her own presence because she knows that solitude is where growth happens. Most people are afraid to be alone. They fill their days with endless conversations, social media, parties, and distractions, all because they do not want to sit with their own thoughts. They do not want to face their fears, their insecurities, their emotions. But a strong girl understands that the only way to truly grow is to sit with herself, to embrace the silence, to listen to her own soul without interference. Think about a great artist. A masterpiece is not created in a room full of noise. It is created in solitude, in the quiet hours when the world is asleep. A strong girl treats her life the same way. She does not fear being alone because she knows that in those moments of solitude she is building herself. She is shaping her mind. She is discovering her power. Consider a woman who has just faced heartbreak. The world will tell her to distract herself, to surround herself with people, to keep moving so she does not feel the pain. But a strong girl does the opposite. She embraces the solitude. She allows herself to feel, to heal, to understand. And in that silence, she becomes stronger than ever before. Because healing does not happen in noise, it happens in stillness. People often mistake loneliness for solitude, but they are not the same. Loneliness is when you feel incomplete in your own company. Solitude is when you find peace in it. A strong girl transforms loneliness into solitude. She does not see being alone as a weakness, she sees it as an opportunity. An opportunity to think deeply, to reflect, to grow into the woman she is meant to be. Look at the most powerful women in history. They were not always surrounded by people. In fact, some of the greatest moments of their lives were spent in isolation, working on their dreams, mastering their skills, preparing for the moment when the world would finally see their greatness. A strong girl follows this path. She does not chase attention, she builds herself in silence, knowing that when the time is right, the world will recognize her strength. Think of the strongest trees in a forest. They do not grow fast. They do not seek to outshine others. They grow slowly in solitude, their roots digging deep into the earth, making them unshakable. A strong girl is the same. She does not rush her growth. She takes her time, she learns, she evolves. And when she emerges, she is unbreakable. In today's world, people equate being busy with being important. They think that always being surrounded by people means they are successful. But a strong girl knows better. She knows that the most important work is done in silence. The best decisions are made in solitude. The greatest transformations happen when no one is watching. A strong girl is not afraid to take time for herself. She does not feel guilty for stepping away from the crowd. She does not apologize for needing space, because she understands that solitude is not a weakness, it is her greatest weapon. It is where she finds clarity. It is where she finds peace. It is where she builds herself into the woman the world cannot break. So while the world rushes to fill every moment with noise, a strong girl chooses the opposite. She chooses to be alone when she needs to be. She chooses to listen to her own heart instead of the opinions of others. She chooses to embrace the quiet, knowing that in those moments of stillness she is becoming stronger than ever before. Because real strength is not found in crowds. It is not found in noise. It is found in the moments when a girl stands alone, completely at peace with who she is, knowing that she needs nothing and no one to complete her. That is the power of solitude. And that is the power of a strong girl. Strength is not something you are born with, it is something you build, something you earn, something you forge through fire, pain, and resilience. A strong girl is not the one who never falls, she is the one who rises every single time with more power, more wisdom, and more grace than before. Life will test you. It will push you to the edge. It will make you question yourself, your worth, your abilities. But in those moments, remember, diamonds are made under pressure, and the strongest steel is forged in the hottest flames. The world will tell you to be soft, to be agreeable, to be what they want you to be. But why blend in when you were born to stand out? Why shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you? A strong girl does not seek permission to exist. She does not wait for approval to be who she is. She takes up space. She owns her voice. She walks into the world with unshakable confidence, knowing that her worth is not dependent on anyone else's validation. People may doubt you, they may underestimate you. Let them. Because nothing is more satisfying than proving them wrong, not through words, but through your actions, your success, your undeniable rise. The greatest revenge is not anger or hatred, it is becoming everything they said you could never be. You must learn to walk alone. Not because people will always leave, but because you must never be dependent on them to carry you forward. A queen does not beg for a throne, she builds her own kingdom. A warrior does not seek someone to fight her battles, she sharpens her own sword. And a strong girl does not wait for the world to give her strength, she finds it within herself. Pain will come. It will break you, shape you, challenge you. But do not fear pain. Do not run from it. The ones who embrace pain, who learn from it, who use it as fuel, those are the ones who become unstoppable. Every scar you carry is not a mark of weakness. It is a symbol of survival, a testament to the battles you have won. And remember, the most beautiful stories are not the ones without struggles. They are the ones where struggle is turned into strength. You are not just a girl. You are a force of nature. You are a storm, a fire, a wave that cannot be stopped. Never let anyone tell you that you are too much, too ambitious, too bold. The world does not need another girl who follows the rules. It needs a girl who rewrites them. It needs a girl who dares to live on her own terms, without fear, without hesitation, without regret. There will be days when you doubt yourself. There will be moments when the weight of the world feels unbearable. In those times, remember this: you did not come this far just to stop now. You did not fight every battle, break every chain, overcome every obstacle just to give up. Look at how far you have come. Look at everything you have survived. If you can survive your past, you can conquer your future. A strong girl is not afraid of failure. She is not afraid of falling, because she knows that failure is not the end, it is the beginning. Every failure is a lesson, every mistake is a stepping stone, and every setback is just a setup for a greater comeback. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: the strong ones refuse to quit. So stand tall. Walk like you own the ground beneath your feet. Speak like your voice commands the universe itself. Love yourself fiercely, protect your energy, and never lower your standards for anyone. The world will try to break you, but remember, you were never meant to be ordinary. You were born to be legendary. Go out there and be unstoppable. Be fearless. Be powerful. Be the girl who refuses to be tamed, who refuses to be silenced, who refuses to be anything less than extraordinary. The world is watching. Show them what a strong girl looks like.